Welcome to the channel Master in English with Monica Jetli. As per the demand of the students of class 8, I am here to explain you the story The First Pup by Ranjit Lal, who was born in Kolkata in 1955 and educated in Mumbai. This lesson is there in James English Reader by Ratna Sagar Publication. Ranjit Lal has written fictional as well as real stories for children as well as grown-ups. He has published over 1,000 articles, features and photo features in more than 50 newspapers and magazines in India and abroad. The First Pup is a real story depicting the difficulties in upbringing of a pup. In order to make a pup live with us, we have to teach them certain ways, and it's a hard nut to crack. It is really a difficult task to accomplish. In this lesson, the author and his sisters realized that it was really a difficult job to make the pups behave well the way we want them to. So it begins like this, that everything changes when there's a new and especially first pup in the house. Suddenly, our whole life and routine revolves around it, the moment we wake up to the moment we go to bed. It's rather like what happens when a new baby comes home. The author and his sisters Meena and Mala made all the bringing up mistakes it was possible to make with Bambi, their new pup. And she reaped the benefits. Reaped the benefits means she got the advantage of those nearly all her life. They had never realized that pups, like babies, would test the edibility of everything that came their way. They could eat everything whatever came on their way. Pups had this insane and insatiable desire to chew to pieces absolutely everything. They had the desire to be satisfied with whatever came on their way, to have a taste of it and to eat it. They could chew to pieces whatever came on their way. So be it shoes, be it slippers, ruined ones, tables, chairs, legs and edges of the tables, and then even books were partially pulped and smelled of something awful for ages afterwards. So these things happened with the author when a new pup arrived in their family. They had to watch out that their pup didn't put her pretty face into electric sockets or chew live wires, which would have been disastrous. On one occasion, she swallowed a fairly large chunk of her own collar. She didn't seem at all discomfited. She was quite normal, but the author was horribly worried that if it didn't come out, she might have to be operated upon. Thankfully, she dealt with the problem in a simple way. The next day, she vomited and it all came out intact. But the author was glad that they didn't have cell phones in those days, because this chewing mania would have made it chew the cell phone even. This had a control when she grew up, but it didn't stop her from stuffing her face where it was not required. One day, when the author came back from college to home, he was informed, Mummy says there's a packet of butter missing from the fridge. Brother, Mummy says there's a packet of butter missing from the fridge. On listening this, the author was shocked. Oh, so bits of the wrapping were found on the floor licked clean? So bits of the wrapping were found on the floor licked clean. Licked clean? What do you mean licked clean? Where's Bambi? How could she have opened the fridge? And there was Bambi licking her chops a little too smugly and looking startled with life, with a peculiar thoughtful glint in her eye. Someone had left the fridge door ajar, and the rest, and butter, as they say, was history. They all were horrified. Oh my god! Bambi is gone and eaten a whole packet of butter. Half a kilo of it? She's going to be ill. And sure enough, for the next 2 days, she was one very thirsty and unhappy and pukey boxer, looking very sorry for herself as she tried to find a comfortable position to lie down in. There was lots and lots of cleaning up to do behind her. Of course, she didn't learn a thing from the experience and repeated the performance another time with a kadai full of oil in which kebabs had been fried. She'd also discovered that waste paper baskets were interesting places to put her face into, and her investigations could have unexpected and startling consequences. One afternoon, Mina's mother in law was to be invited to tea. As usual, his mother had gone out with elaborate preparations. There were dainty egg and cucumber sandwiches in a decorative garnish of grated cabbage and carrots. There was cake and a magnificent bowl of rasmalai, all loaded up and decked up in white lace. The tea trolley squatted resplendently in the dining room, glittering with china and silver, ready to be rolled out in style. As usual, tea would be served in the veranda where the guest was being entertained. Excusing herself, his mother went to the dining room to make sure everything was perfect and to wheel out the trolley. But horror of horrors was that the familiar and very suspicious headless brown shape right next to the trolley, and what were those slurping, slobbering noises emanating from underneath the tablecloth draped over it? Bambi! Bambi! Bad dog! Naughty girl! Get your face out of there! At once! Ranjit! Mala! Get your wretched dog out of here! It was too late. A dripping black muzzle covered with white rasmalai emerged from under the cloth, and Bambi looked up guiltily, smacking her lips. They gazed in horror at the wreckage. The rasmalai was quite a mess, but luckily Bambi had not got to work on the cake or sandwiches. If you tidy up the dish a bit, no one need know. Smoothen it out and put some more silver paper on top. Maybe in a smaller dish. No one would be able to know anything. It was not a suggestion that was welcomed. Anyway, wouldn't have worked because Bambi had trotted off into the veranda to greet the visitor and let her know how delicious the rasmalai was. Luckily, the lady was very fond of dogs herself and spoiled her own dog worse than they all did Bambi, and Bambi was pardoned instantly. Where they had slipped up big time was by feeding Bambi at the table. She was, after all, their very first dog, and none of them could resist those pleading eyes gazing up at them like half starved waif as they all ate. Surely it could do no harm to give her a tidbit then and here and there, especially of the more unpalatable parts of their meal. Mala used to declare melodramatically, gazing at him like that and traveling from her plate to her hand to her mouth. In the olden days, people used to put aside some of the food in their plates for birds and cows and surely dogs before they ate. So, this was really no different. Sometimes they were in a hurry, late for college or school, and what better and quicker way to dispose of a rubbery toast. And so, nearly all her life, Bambi would turn up at the dining table during meal times and sit and drool and whine and drool and whine and drool and whine as they tried to eat. Turn by turn, she would go from person to person, looking terribly mattered as if they refused to give her anything. It would become 10 times worse when they had guests. Knowing full well that she was not likely to get anything from the family, she would sit down next to the guest, look pathetically at him or her as if she had been starved for the last fortnight, and start her routine. Bambi, stop it! Behave yourself! Put your paw down at once! Do we behave like this when you have your food? And then she would produce her final weapon. Drooling copiously, she would put her dribbling chin on the poor guest's lap and look up sorrowfully, laying down a large swath of silvery drool on the guest's clothes. You know, these cruel people don't give me anything to eat. I'm so hungry. I am so hungry. Why? Bambi, get your mug out of there. You have drooled all over Auntie's lovely sari. Disgusting dog. Really so sorry. Here's a napkin, or would you like a towel? Damn dog. Here, let me wipe it for you. Here's a towel for you. Damn dog, please let me wipe it for you. And if there were more than one guest, she would, of course, try her luck with each of them. It was a mistake not repeated with the other two dogs and has taught them a golden rule. No feeding at the table, ever. I hope you have understood the story. Thank you for listening patiently. Thank you so much. Keep watching my channel. Keep liking. Keep subscribing. Thank you.